retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab it and taste it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special Edizione Thursday stream. And we are streaming live across 4 different platforms, across 4 different accounts. And after this Thursday, I'll be taking a little bit of an extended break from the Thursday streams going forward. Because going forward, there will be no more Savage Storm Wrestling Super Show for the time being, because Savage, he's got some stuff to take care of. He recently just got a new job, so he has got to work the 3rd shift. He's busting his ass day in and day out. I don't know how he does it. He must be on about 20 cups of coffee a day. The guy's always on the fucking go, but he's got a family to provide for. So no more Savage Storm for the time being. Hopefully we'll be able to bring it back at some point in time in the near future. But after this Thursday, there will be no more Thursday streams going forward. Unless, of course, there is a pay-per-view and I could do a pay-per-view preview and prediction show. But for the time being, you guys are in for a treat. As per usual, you're always in for a treat on a Thursday when DJ Storms goes live. As, of course, you already know who I am. Mr. Controversy, and of course the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle known to mankind, and this is the official rewind for AEW WrestleDream 2024, which of course is taking place inside the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington this Saturday, with the pre-show starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we certainly have a loaded card to go over. We're going to preview it. We're going to predict it. We're going to go over where everyone could go after said pay-per-view matches and what is going on with AEW going into the fall. And I actually want to start off with that after we get through the self-brand promotion and the advertisements in just a little bit. Obviously, if you haven't already done so, please make sure that you follow me on all platforms of social media, including X and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, that is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can also add me on my personal Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook if you like the official DJ Storms Posse page, the business page, that is. We're currently live on the business page right now. You could send me an email if you're interested in collaborating with me and forming a partnership with me as well. You can also check me out on Rumble. We're currently live on Rumble right now, looking to build a nice, solid fan base over on Rumble and looking to expand the horizon, get as many eyes on your boy as possible. If you want to donate to me, you can donate to me in a multitude of ways. You can send me a super chat, send me a super thanks, send me a super sticker, become a member of the channel. Or if you want to, you can Venmo me. My Venmo is at DJ Storms. You can also Cashapp me. My Cashapp is the DJ Storms. And of course, if you want some merch, you can definitely use Venmo and Cashapp for that. You can get your DJ Storms wristbands. You can get your DJ Storms t-shirts. And of course, the greatest piece of merch that you will ever own. Look at that motherfucker right there, the DJ Storms Switchblade Comb. And just like me, you can be so good. You can be scrumptious, tasty. You could be the most delicious snack in the IWC. And just like everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister, everybody's going to want a piece of you. Definitely something that I would highly recommend. Also, I want to talk about Battle in the Burrow, because Battle in the Burrow, it is just 9 days away. The time is almost upon us. History is almost upon us as the best, and I mean the absolute best professional wrestlers up and down the East Coast will descend on Elmwood Park, New Jersey, hometown of DJ Shizzle Dizzle, and we will see some of the best matches up and down the East Coast for the entire year. Trust me when I tell you, if you're a professional wrestling fan and you're in the general New Jersey area, specifically the Elmwood Park area, you're going to want to come on down to the Elmwood Park Rec Center on Saturday, October 19th. Meet and greet starts at 6 p.m. Bell time is at 7 p.m. Shows put together by yours truly, and it is also in partnership with East Coast Professional Wrestling. So I'd like to thank East Coast Pro Wrestling for helping me put together Battle in the Burrow. We got ourselves a hell of a lot of matches, including some championship matches like this one right here. Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone, will be defending the Titan Championship Wrestling Mob Fight TV American Championship against the 21-year-old prodigy Marcus Mathers. So if you guys are looking to get some Titan Championship action, you are going to want to come on down to Battle in the Burrow. Tickets are just $25 at the door. You can DM me, or you can call 201-507-2577. Who's going to come out victorious? Who's going to win the American Championship for TCW? You're just going to have to find out. We're going to see if the 21-year-old prodigy can continue his monumentous run, or if Gangone will be able to stuff out his momentum and put Mathers to sleep. We also got a first-time ever matchup, 2 first-time ever matchups specifically going down at Battle in the Burrow. One of them between these 2 individuals right here, one out for the Silk City Kings, Kenny Bengal, will step into the ring for the first time ever against the heavy metal hitman, Rick Recon. And these 2 individuals, let me tell you something. These 2 individuals, they are looking to make a name for themselves as it is their debut in the Elmwood Park Rec Center. Recon recently coming off a loss back at ISPW Pandemonium at the PAL. He lost the ISPW World Heavyweight Championship to GKM. Kenny Bengal is looking for his breakout moment. He's looking for the biggest win of his career. Can he secure it, or will Recon bounce back after his big loss last month? There's only one way to find out. You got to get your tickets. Call 201-507-2577. Or if you want to, you could watch it on YouTube, because we will be live streaming the entire event. If you guys are a fan of female action, you are a big advocate for women's wrestling, well, I got a match for you guys. It is the Battle of the Tiffs. It is the Cotton Candy Princess Tiffany Avatar taking on the Temptatious Tiffany Grady. And thanks in part to Ashley Stevie, the CEO of Kaiju Pro Wrestling, Tiffany Avatar will be defending the Kaiju Professional Wrestling Phoenix Division Championship against Tiffany Grady. These 2 ladies are 1-1. This is the rubber match. Who is the superior Tiff? Well, you're going to have to get your tickets in order to find out. It is going to be a monumentous night of epic proportions, specifically for women's wrestling. Let's turn to a match that's actually a little bit more personal, and I'm talking about the Meadowlands monster himself, El Oso Blanco versus El Tramposo, Mateo Marcelos. These 2 individuals, they are very good friends, 2 very proud fathers, but all that respect, all the professional and the personal respect goes out the window when that bell rings, because Mateo says that nothing else means that much to him other than getting a win over his friend. Blanco says that Mateo's gotten a bit too big of a head, and he needs to knock him down a few pegs. Who is going to walk out victorious? And it is also both of their debuts in the Elmwood Park Rec Center, so that is a big, big, big deal. Also, you guys are a fan of tag team wrestling. Tag team wrestling is very, very strong here in the state of New Jersey, especially with these two teams. Two teams actually coming from New York. Vic Delicious and Hale Collins, the Now, are taking on Micah and Seth Cortez of The Audacity. These two teams are no stranger to one another. Matter of fact, they fought back at Outlaw Professional Wrestling's The Last Dance. The Last Dance. I almost said The First Dance. The Last Dance back in February of this year. And it was Hale Collins that had to go at it alone because Vic was out due to an illness. And it was The Audacity that took advantage of that situation, and they became two-time Outlaw Professional Wrestling Tag Team Champions. That is definitely something that has been weighing on the minds of Vic and Hale for the last 8 months. Can they achieve redemption, or will The Audacity vindicate themselves? Only one way to find out. And then our top two main events. This was made official a couple weeks back. Ryman ended up making it out of back from vacation as the Pro Wrestling Magic World Heavyweight Champion, and now he's defending it against a big-time rival of his, the other half of the Silk City Kings, that being Big Dog Zilla himself, Bulldog Pittman. Can Pittman achieve the biggest victory of his career, or will the reign of the Revolver continue? There's only one way to find out. You're going to have to come on down to the Elmwood Park Rec Center for Battle in the Burrow. And of course, our main event, it had to be changed, but we got two grizzled veterans as the Greek god Papa Don will be joined by his manager Savage. He will be taking on Crowbar for the Colossal Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship in another first-time ever matchup. These two have been trying to get a match with each other for years, but no promoter wanted to book it, so I said, you know what, I got this. I'll book this match. Now we have a history-making main event for Battle in the Burrow. You guys are going to want to come on down because it is going to be absolutely glorious in every sense of the word. But that is going down next Saturday. We got to talk about what's going down this Saturday. That being AEW WrestleDream 2024, the second annual WrestleDream for the AEW pay-per-view calendar. I don't really want to start off on a negative, but I'm going to have to bring this up. I'm not a guy that's going to just say things for the sake of getting a reaction. I would rather earn my views, my likes, and my money, my super chats, my channel memberships, and any other donations. I would rather earn everything that I'm earning by stating the truth. And again, I feel like a broken record because I say it all the time. I speak objectively, not subjectively. And I feel as though I need to remind people of that every single time I am on the air, on YouTube or Rumble or Facebook or X. I don't share opinions. I don't. I stay away from opinions. I'd rather speak the truth when it comes to professional wrestling and give you guys the facts how they are. That's what separates me from everyone else. I'm not a guy who's going to just say outlandish things for the sake of a reaction. I'm not going to shit on AEW for the sake of a reaction. There's a lot of people that do that, and I am not going to be one of those individuals. I don't want to start off on a negative, and to be quite honest with you, it feels like the people of the IWC can't go 30 fucking seconds without saying something negative about AEW, because it's the cool thing to shit on AEW. But this needs to be said. I've been paying close attention to WWE, and after Bash in Berlin, WWE has significantly declined in terms of quality. They may sell a lot of tickets. They may get decent amount of ratings. They may have a $5 billion Netflix deal coming on in. But the quality of their shows, specifically throughout the month of September and then heading into October, hasn't really been up to par with what they've been putting together over the summer. This past summer was one of the best summer periods for the WWE in a long, long time. But usually, WWE, after the summer is done and over with, they always tend to dip in quality and they slip into a lull period. And they do this all the time. Last year was actually an exception because last year's fall and winter season was actually a very, very decent fall and winter season for the WWE. Compared to the fall and winter seasons of WWE's past, last year's fall and winter season may have been one of the best fall and winter seasons of the last decade for the WWE. This year, not so much. Now, AEW usually isn't like that. AEW usually isn't like WWE in the sense that they are rather laid back, very laxed, and ultimately very, very lazy. But the month of September, coming out of All Out on September 7th, which was a great show, one of the best AEW shows of the year. If people were to tell me that that was the pay-per-view of the year, I would not look at you in a weird way. But coming out of All Out, especially this past Tuesday's show, AEW may be slipping into the trap of being way too laxed and way too lazy. See, WWE, they've usually always been lazy for the fall and winter season. But this year specifically, they are especially lazy because they got that $5 billion Netflix deal coming on in. And I would not be shocked whatsoever if outside of the PLEs for the next 3 months, outside of a Crown Jewel, outside of a Survivor Series, outside of a Saturday night's main event, outside of the 3 PLEs that we got going on WWE's main roster, I would not be shocked at all. I would not be shocked at all if we are going to be in for some of the most stale, some of the most nonchalant, some of the least energetic WWE shows that we've seen all year, especially with what we saw this past Monday. Raw was 2 hours this past Monday. There were way too many commercials, not enough important material on the show, and there was only 2 things worth investing your time in this past Monday on Raw. And then you got AEW on the other side of the fence. Minus Grand Slam and the 5-year anniversary, there really hasn't been much of anything to invest in when it comes to AEW. And WrestleDream, this is why I'm so happy that Grand Slam is its own separate pay-per-view now, because Grand Slam, similar to last year, Grand Slam actually was a hindrance to WrestleDream. And WrestleDream last year, minus Hangman and Swerve, WrestleDream was essentially pieced together within 2 weeks. And just like this year, Grand Slam took priority over WrestleDream when Tony Khan basically stacked up Grand Slam and tried to make it as important as he could, even though he rushed through it to try and sell some tickets. Now you take a look at WrestleDream. Has WrestleDream gotten enough effort put into it? Has WrestleDream gotten enough of a showcase? Has it gotten enough of a build? The answer is no. And they actually sold more tickets this year for WrestleDream than they did last year in the same state of Washington. They actually sold more tickets for WrestleDream this year, more so than they did last year. Now, I would say that's fairly impressive. I'm glad that they did, and I do believe that they could possibly have 8,000 people in the building by showtime. Should be a great show, don't get me wrong. But this pay-per-view doesn't have any heat surrounding it. I really don't want to be that guy, but the pay-per-view has no steam. And part of the reason is because they put a lot of effort into Grand Slam and neglected WrestleDream. But then on the other side of the fence, and this is where I'm going to make the comparison to WWE, WWE's got the $5 billion Netflix deal coming on in. AEW, they recently just signed a new TV media rights deal, and now they're sitting pretty on a couple $1 million in profit that they're making right now. They're set to make at least $60 million to $70 million worth of profit. So now Tony Khan, he's falling into that same trap that WWE usually falls into. He is getting lazy based on the amount of money that he's making. And that's not right. That is the one thing that I absolutely fucking hate when it comes to the big wrestling promoters. At some point in time, and I hope that Tony Khan was going to be different, he's not any different. Tony Khan, just like Triple H, he is falling into the trap of complacency. And we should not be at that point. You should be going balls to the wall, fully fledged, fully focused, no matter what you do, no matter what part of the year that you are in, no matter how much money you are making, you should never, ever be complacent. You know when you can be complacent? When you're asleep. You can be complacent when you're asleep. But when you are on the clock, when you're putting together a wrestling show, no matter how many hours throughout the week, no matter how many shows, you are never, ever to be complacent no matter what. No matter if you sell tickets or you don't, no matter if you're making money or you're not, do not ever, ever be complacent. And I hate that I have to say this, but Tony Khan, he's falling into that same trap that WWE fell into for decades now, and it's not right. Everyone is excited for WrestleDream, I can assure you that. The card looks great, but it has no heat. And part of the reason why it has no heat, obviously because of Grand Slam, and they put a lot of effort into Grand Slam, and I'm very, very happy that Grand Slam is its own separate pay-per-view now. But similar to WWE, Tony Khan has fallen into the trap of complacency. He's fallen into a trap of laziness for multiple reasons. Number one, because the fall and winter season is usually a lull period for wrestling, and now AEW is starting to slip into that, which I really hope that it wouldn't, but now unfortunately it is. And similar to WWE with the $5 billion Netflix deal, Tony Khan has now become complacent because he just secured a media rights deal and he's set to make $60 to $70 million worth of profit next year. Tony Khan cannot get complacent. The pay-per-view should be fine. The pay-per-view should be fine, but I'm not going to sit here and defend complacency. I'm not. So far we got 10 matches on the show, 9 matches on the main show, 1 match on the pre-show so far. Pre-show match is Atlantis Jr. versus Brian Cage for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Obviously, we know that WrestleDream is another one of these pay-per-views and an excuse for Tony Khan to just load up the show with whatever talent that he wants and bring all of these individuals and all these brands together. Ring of Honor should be its own separate brand. You're not going to be able to cross-correlate Ring of Honor on AEW TV and have it be meaningful unless you make Ring of Honor something of substance, which they're not. They have not made Ring of Honor anything of substance, and that's not right. That's not right. Because Ring of Honor could actually be great. As we've seen in the past with the Ring of Honor pay-per-views, we actually have a lot of great material on these Ring of Honor pay-per-views, especially Supercard of Honor. Because Supercard of Honor, I mean, holy shit. Supercard of Honor this year was one of the best pay-per-views of the entire year. Fantastic fucking show, in every sense of the word. But the weekly TV just isn't hitting it. It's not hitting the right buttons. Tony Khan, he needs to hire someone to take over Ring of Honor while he handles AEW side of the fence. He needs to hire someone that he trusts, someone who's going to maintain the vision, and someone who's going to get the format of the show right. Now, as far as this match goes, listen, it should be a fine match. Should be a fine match. Who wins? I don't think a lot of people are going to care, but if I was booking this, I'd give it to Brian Cage. Throw him a bone. You have him re-signed until when? 2026, 2027? May as well do something with him. He's already a former two-time Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Champion. Give him the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. Have him run with it. Why the fuck not? You want to make the pre-show feel meaningful? That's how you make it feel meaningful. Give it to Brian Cage. Why the fuck not? It's not like many people are going to care about it anyway, but I'm going to care because I'm an advocate for Brian Cage, and I want to see Brian Cage succeed. Give it to Brian Cage. Main show. You know what else is a problem? A lot of the problem, one of the biggest problems, I would say, with AEW TV right now is the simple fact that half of these matches don't have any meaning. Not story, okay? I'm fucking sick and tired of these people saying, oh, story this, story that. This is why I always say that the Bloodline storylines set pro wrestling back several decades. Pro wrestling is not a soap opera. It is a fucking sport. You want to watch a soap opera? Go pop on General Hospital. You want story? Go read Harry Potter. This is a sport. It should be treated as such. However, half the matches don't have a reason as to why they're taking place. And a big chunk of why they don't have a reason why they're taking place is strictly because of the fact that they got rid of the rankings and they don't keep track of wins and losses. Wins and losses essentially don't matter now, and that is a problem. That is a major problem. You need to have a ranking system. You need to make wins and losses mean something, and you need to go based off of the fact that how many wins you get, then you get yourself a championship match. You cannot go just based off the fact that, hey, I want to place this person in a title match, or I want to place these two together. Like Hologram and the Black Mortos, right? They got a 2 out of 3 falls match. Hologram, more likely than not, is going to go 15-0 in this match, right? Where is Hologram's title opportunity? Where's his title opportunity? Do they have any plans, or does it feel like they have any plans of making Hologram a #1 contender for any sort of championship? What is the problem here? Why exactly is Hologram undefeated, yet there has been no tease whatsoever of a championship match in the near future? That is a problem. I'm sorry, that is a problem. Or Willow Nightingale. She recently just lost to Chris Statlander at All Out. And now here she is. She's getting a championship match just because she won 2 matches. I don't understand. I honest to God do not understand. That's what I mean. Reason. We need reasons. We need meaning. Fuck your story. Reason and meaning is what we need for these matches. There is no reason other than the fact that LFI, they paired themselves up with Jake Roberts this past Tuesday on Dynamite, and now Mortos and Hologram, they're fighting again. That is the only reason why this match is taking place right now. The only reason. And that shouldn't be. That should not be at all. We should have this match taking place because Hologram is in a position where he is going to be fighting for a championship, and Tony Khan has not developed any long-term plans for anyone to be fighting for a championship. I'm sorry, that's a problem. But as far as that match goes, listen, it's going to be a great match. I expect a Hologram victory. Mariah May and Willow Nightingale. This is another example. Should be a great match. But the biggest problem here is the fact that Mariah May, she won the AEW Women's World Championship back at Allin, yet they have not done anything to build up a hefty amount of challengers for her following her victory over Timeless Toni Storm. It's literally the same thing that WWE has done with Gunther and Cody Rhodes. That's why they made the Crown Jewel Championship. And they're having Cody and Gunther fight each other because they have no challengers for their world champions. The only champion right now that has any sort of an amount of challengers is LA Knight. He is legit the only guy right now in the entire wrestling industry, maybe Bryan Danielson as well, because, I mean, there's a lot of people that can fight Bryan. But as of right now, the only individual that actually had a hefty amount of challengers lined up for him after he won the title was LA Knight. You got Santos Escobar, you got Andrade, you got Carmelo Hayes, Ludwig Kaiser was in there, potentially Randy Orton, because that's a program that they're planning on doing soon. He's the only guy in the industry right now that actually has a hefty amount of challengers lined up. Mariah May didn't have anyone lined up. They're literally just throwing her random women with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. And yes, she delivers in the ring. Yes, she's a great character. Yes, she has a consistent spot on TV, but there's no substance. Substance and reason goes a long way. This is why we need rankings. So that way, we can have credible individuals built up over an extended period of time. That's what we need. We need legitimacy with the challengers. No one's going to believe that Willow is going to win the championship if Willow only won 2 matches and Willow's just coming off a loss against Chris Statlander. No one is going to believe that Willow has any sort of chance of winning the championship, no matter how good Willow is. One day she will be champion, and you can tell that they are investing heavily in Willow Nightingale. But that does not mean that we are all collectively going to believe that Willow has a shot. We're not going to care because Willow has not been built up enough to look credible against Mariah. Plain and simple. I don't know what you want me to tell you. That's just how it goes. Mariah May, more likely than not, is going to win. What happens afterwards? I'm guessing we're probably going to see the return of Timeless Toni Storm at some point. Mina Shirakawa's there. Mina Shirakawa has been with Mariah May for a couple weeks now. So it would only make sense that Mina Shirakawa, she is going to facilitate the return of Timeless Toni Storm. Maybe we see another match between the two, or maybe we see Mina versus Mariah. Maybe we see Mina versus Mariah. Who knows? Hangman Adam Page, one of the best acts in all of pro wrestling right now. Hangman Adam Page and the Switchblade Jay White. Now, if they want to kick off the show with this match, I certainly would not mind. This match definitely is going to be something, and I'm very, very intrigued to hear the crowd during this match. And if the crowd is still going to chant, whose house, Swerve's house, more likely than not. I mean, they're in fucking Tacoma, of all places. They're in fucking Tacoma. But I'm very, very intrigued to see how this one plays out. Very, very intrigued to say the least. Now, I had no problem with this. This actually makes sense. However, this should have gotten more of a build. I would have loved if Jay White made his return back at Grand Slam rather than on the Dynamite 5-year anniversary. That way we would have had a little bit more of a build between these two. But nevertheless, this match, it does make sense because Jay White was injured at the hands of Hangman Adam Page during the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament back in July. So now, where do we go from here? Now, I don't know how long this feud is going to go. For all we know, maybe this continues going into Full Gear. And you know what? I wouldn't mind that. At all. Maybe Jay White wins. And Jay White inevitably gets the win. Hangman chalks it up to the fact that, hey, the crowd was chanting whose house, Swerve's house. It got in my head, yada, yada, yada. Either way, we could get a second match, and this could continue the feud going into Full Gear. Maybe we see Page versus Switchblade Jay White at Full Gear. Certainly wouldn't mind that. That would be a very, very, very good program heading into Full Gear. And it keeps Hangman occupied. For the time being. Or maybe Hangman just wins here, and maybe we see Jay White cost Christian Cage the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. Because I do believe that Bryan is going to beat Moxley. I don't know how, but I do believe Bryan's going to end up beating Moxley. And then Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson is going to be the main event for Full Gear. I do believe that Jay White's inevitably going to fuck over Christian Cage. And then going into World's End, we're going to see Christian Cage and Jay White. But as far as this goes, I can see Jay White winning. This is actually a toss-up. I can't give you a straightforward prediction here. The one question that I'm going to pose is, if Hangman ends up winning here and just dispatches of Jay White, then what is going to happen with Hangman going into Full Gear? What's going to happen with Jay White going into Full Gear? Seems rather odd there. I'm not sure how they're going to play that out. But maybe Jay White ends up getting the win. If anything, Jay White getting the win would probably be the best outcome. White getting the win would probably be the best outcome, because then we can see the feud continue going into Full Gear, and Hangman can inevitably get the win and then move on to World's End to fight Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. So I'm going with the Switchblade to get the victory here. Young Bucks and Private Party, AEW World Tag Team Championships. First of all, I'm very, very happy that the Bucks are actually defending the championships now. It seems as though they were just props, and now, ever since August, they've been defending the titles quite consistently. That is certainly something that we need to see more of going forward. How you doing, John Blaine? Very, very happy to see you here, Mr. John Blaine. And I know that I will be seeing you next Saturday when we make history for Battle in the Burrow. Gotta love John Blaine. But Young Bucks and Private Party. Young Bucks, very, very happy that they are defending the tag team titles. However, the aura and the appeal of the Young Bucks, it's definitely run its course. The Young Bucks characters just aren't working at this stage of the game. And where we're at right now, just, it's just not intriguing. It just isn't. The Elite aren't a threat. Moxley's faction right now is developing themselves as a credible threat. But the Elite can't really say the same thing. The Elite just are not as hot and as legitimate as they were coming out of that Anarchy in the Arena match. They're just not. I'm sorry, but that's just the fucking truth. The only thing that we are all collectively looking at when it comes to the Elite is, when are they losing their championships? If anything, I would not even bother wasting time. I would give Private Party the championships. I'm not even lying. I would, honest to God, give Private Party the tag team titles here. You got to make some new stars, right? You got to develop something with the tag team division. Fucking give them the championships. Who gives a shit? Give them the championships, and let's redevelop and rebuild this tag team division. You got the resources for it. You got FTR. You got the Grizzled Young Veterans. You got the Acclaimed. You got the Outrunners. You got Private Party. You got Top Flight. You got the Iron Savages. You got the Bucks. You got everything that you need. How many other tag teams that you're not even utilizing correctly? You got the Undisputed Kingdom in there. You need to develop some legitimacy in the tag team division. We need to get competitive tag team wrestling on a week-to-week basis, and we need to develop wins and losses mattering, wins and losses making sense, and above all else, we need to get a sense of organization and structure. That's another one of AEW's biggest problems right now. I've been talking about it for 2+ years. Organization and structure. We need organization and structure in the tag team division. If we're going to really start anew and really develop some credibility in the tag team division, it's time to start at WrestleDream, give Private Party the tag team titles, and then start featuring tag team wrestling more on TV. Plain and simple. Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Konosuke Takeshita, the AEW International Championship. Now, if there's one match that could steal the whole damn show, it is this match. This match is certainly in line to be the show stealer. And I will have my eyes glued to the TV screen throughout this entire match. I am certainly looking forward to seeing what these three men produce. Listen, Will Ospreay and Ricochet, they're great at what they do. Konosuke Takeshita, he is well overdue for a championship. The reports are stating that Konosuke Takeshita is in line for a big push as soon as the next couple of weeks. I'm not wasting any time, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It's time that we give Konosuke Takeshita a championship. If Takeshita does not win the International Championship, we have a problem. Konosuke Takeshita needs to win the AEW International Championship. I do not want to hear any excuses. I do not want to hear any ifs, ands, buts, maybes, or excuses. Konosuke Takeshita wins. If Takeshita does not win, this is a mistake. Takeshita needs the win. Out of everyone, it's Takeshita that needs the win. If you're not going to have him beat Okada, the best possible option would be for him to beat Ospreay. And then Takeshita can do his own thing. And then Will Ospreay and Ricochet, they can have their one-on-one match at Full Gear. So that right there's another match for Full Gear. Full Gear, it's Bryan and Christian for the AEW World Championship. And then it is Will Ospreay and Ricochet one-on-one. We don't need a championship involved. And then you build up Konosuke Takeshita as a fucking monster. You build him up as a fucking monster, and you make him a major, and I mean a major threat. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to be saying, well, why are you going to give it to Takeshita now when Ospreay, he just won it back at All In? Listen, I don't advocate for short championship title reigns, and I fucking hate the fact that they hot potatoed the title between Ospreay and MJF. That was the only negative about that storyline. The only negative about that storyline was the fact that they hot potatoed the championship when they didn't need to. You could have done that storyline with MJF and Will Ospreay not going back and forth with the title, and Will Ospreay would have been able to get a victory just fine at AEW All In and remained international champion going into the fall. And then at that point, he would have had a decent amount of time with the title with no break in between, and then you could have given it to Takeshita. But it's time. There's no other way for me to tell you. It's time. You cannot continuously shaft Takeshita over and over and over again. It is time. Put it on a new star, develop a new talent. This is how you do it. Konosuke Takeshita wins the AEW International Championship. I don't want to hear a peep out of anybody. Chris Jericho, Mark Briscoe, Ring of Honor World Championship. I'll tell you this. The promo that we got between Jericho and Mark Briscoe was actually tolerable. But I mean, holy shit, the learning tree shit just isn't working. It really isn't working. It's doing more for Big Bill and Brian Keith more so than it's doing for Chris Jericho. The only thing that's entertaining about the learning tree shit is the fact that Jericho has developed the fucking catchphrase that normally would be looked at as a normal introductory phrase when you walk into a room of friends. But now, whenever someone says, "Hi guys," everyone's going to think of Chris Jericho now. So I guess, in a sense, that is the genius of Chris Jericho, but it's not working. It's not clicking. The learning tree shit just is not clicking. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Jericho needs a break. I'm glad that he's with AEW. I'm glad that he's staying in AEW, and I'm glad that we're getting Big Bill and Brian Keith TV time, no pun intended. But the learning tree shit just isn't working. It's not. Now, I will say this. Mark Briscoe getting a win over Chris Jericho, that is a big deal. And that is definitely a means of pushing Mark Briscoe up the ladder. And I'm sure that a lot of people want to see that. They want to see Mark Briscoe get pushed up the ladder. But think that people would rather see less of Chris Jericho in the process. It's not because he's not great. It's because the gimmick just isn't working. The gimmick isn't working, and above all else, Jericho is in desperate need of a break. There's only so many weeks that we could see you on TV until the magic is gone. And as of right now with Chris Jericho, I'm sorry to tell you, but the magic's gone. He's not as good as he once was, or at least not with this current gimmick. Once we get the classic Chris Jericho back, if we're able to get the 2019, 2020 Chris Jericho back, that's the Chris Jericho that we need. If we get that Chris Jericho, then we'll absolutely be on the right track. But in order for us to really develop our appreciation for Chris Jericho again, he's going to need to take some time away. I'm not even lying to you. I don't think we should see Chris Jericho on AEW TV until the new year after WrestleDream. We should not see Chris Jericho until the new year. No joke. No joke. We're not going to see the Nueve. We're going to see Mark Briscoe win. He retains the Ring of Honor World TV Champion or World Championship, period. And that's that. That's that. Goodbye. Darby Allin and Brody King. Listen, I mean this in no disrespectful manner to Brody King. I mean this in no disrespectful manner to Brody King whatsoever, but this should have been Malachi Black versus Darby Allin. I'm not sure what's going on with Malachi. I don't know if it's in regards to Hurricane Milton. I'm not sure if he's with Zelina Vega down there in Florida or he had to evacuate. I'm not sure what's going on. I do believe that he is located in Florida with Zelina Vega. I am not sure what is happening. I am not sure what is happening right now, but I would have gone with Malachi and Darby Allin. Specifically because that's a first-time ever match. We haven't seen a one-on-one match between the two, and it would be a great means, an excellent means of getting Malachi Black in the singles hunt again for a championship. I remember back during the middle of 2024. We had the House of Black. They were feuding with Adam Copeland and Eddie Kingston and Mark Briscoe, and then Adam Copeland challenged Malachi Black for the TNT Championship. I remember that very, very well. And I was thinking to myself, man, holy shit, this is finally a scenario where Malachi Black is going to break out. Malachi Black is going to be in a position where he's going to be fighting for singles championships. And then after the whole feud with Malachi and Adam Copeland was over, they put Malachi Black right back in the trios division with the House of Black. And they had a great performance at All In. Don't get me wrong. Had a great performance. But at the same point in time, I mean, Malachi Black is worth so much more than just a trios wrestler. If anything, if you're going to book the House of Black in a multi-man position, Buddy and Brody should be going for the tag team titles. Build up Buddy and Brody as a tag team, and there's another tag team that you could build up in the division right then and there. Meanwhile, Malachi, on the other hand, he should be in the singles division. I don't understand how Malachi has not become a singles champion yet. I don't understand how Malachi has not become a singles champion yet. That right there, that is a fucking problem. I'm sorry. That is a major fucking problem. Malachi Black should have already been at least an international or a TNT champion. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten Malachi versus Kenny Omega one-on-one. But we have a problem with Malachi. We need Malachi in the singles division. Now, listen, I'm not going to discredit the match between Darby and Brody King, but it does seem a little underwhelming considering, we've seen this match numerous amounts of times. I understand that these two are probably going to fucking kill each other and we're all going to collectively watch this match and enjoy what they're going to do. And the promo that we saw on Tuesday, that was some solid material. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that was bad. It wasn't bad, but I mean, what reason should we really have to care about it? Because again, there's not enough at stake. There's not enough at stake. We've already seen the match. And on top of that, wins and losses don't matter. So even if Brody King gets a big win here over Darby Allin, how much is it really going to mean? How much is it really going to mean? It's not going to mean anything. That's the problem with AEW. We need the rankings back, and we need substance, organization, and structure. That is the one thread that I will always correlate, and I'm always going to go back to when talking about a professional wrestling show, especially AEW. Back then, they were able to make more with less. They made more with less. They had a much weaker roster in 2019 and 2020, but they made do with it because they had great structure and great fluidity to their shows. Can't say the same now. You just can't. You can't say the same now, and things are just not as well-flowing as they were. And this is part of the reason why. Now, I don't think Brody King's going to win. I think that we're going to see Darby Allin win. I honestly believe that Darby Allin's going to take the win just because it's in his home state. Maybe they do give the win to Brody King. Who knows? Maybe they give it to Brody King, and maybe this leads to Malachi and Darby. Maybe they do have plans for Malachi and Darby down the line. I certainly wouldn't mind that. Matter of fact, I'm sure a lot of people would rejoice if we see Darby Allin and Malachi Black. I'm sure we would. Jack Perry and Katsuyori Shibata, TNT Championship. Same scenario that I'm going to correlate with Willow and Mariah. Another match that should be a decent match. Should be. But at the same point in time, even though it's going to be a decent match, what has Shibata done to prove to anyone that, yeah, Shibata's got a chance here? He doesn't. Jack Perry should not be losing the TNT title as it is, and you're not going to put it on Shibata, especially when he's got obligations in Japan. You're just not going to do that. It would be foolish to do that. So what's the problem here? The problem here is that they have not built up enough challengers for Jack Perry. The roster is not full of enough credible individuals who have gotten wins over time that can stand there with Jack Perry and deliver the great matches that we know they should be delivering. Matter of fact, Jack Perry's TNT title defenses have not been up to par with those of the past. The best match that Jack Perry had was probably against Lio Rush on a random episode of Dynamite back in September. Jack Perry should be in a bigger, more prosperous spot right now. He really should. And the reason why he's not is because they're not giving him enough credible challengers. Even though we could potentially see Jack Perry's best title defense of his reign, it's not going to resonate as much as it should, especially considering that they have not built up Shibata enough. And Jack Perry, he was doing everything in his power to neglect the TNT title in the beginning. Coming out of All Out, he only defended the TNT title twice. And then he went to challenge for the AEW World Championship with Bryan Danielson. How exactly do you have Jack Perry on the down low right now when he came out of that great fucking match with Bryan Danielson, perhaps one of the best matches of his career since the match with Luchasaurus back in the fall of 2022? Ironically, in the Prudential Center for AEW Full Gear. Don't really understand. But Jack Perry should be in a better position right now. You know, with Daniel Garcia re-signing with AEW, I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to bullshit you. I would give the TNT title to Daniel Garcia. Honest to God, I would. I'd give the TNT title to Daniel Garcia, and I'd let Daniel Garcia run with it. I'd let Daniel Garcia run with it, and I would let Daniel Garcia be their mid-card main star for the year of 2025. I'm giving Daniel Garcia the TNT title, and I'm letting him run with it. Garcia, Jack Perry, TNT title, Full Gear. I'm giving Daniel Garcia that TNT championship. Jack Perry's going to retain here. Main event. Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. I know a lot of people are saying that it's going to be Moxley. I've seen the chatter. A lot of people have been pointing in Jon Moxley's direction. You know, as much as it would make sense, if Jon Moxley won here, I can't put Jon Moxley in a position where he's going to win here. I can't. At this stage of the game, it is not Jon Moxley's time. Jon Moxley, I do believe that his faction is going to be a big, big problem. But at this stage of the game, Jon Moxley's not the guy. He's not the guy to beat Bryan. I do believe we'll see a heel turn, though. I do believe that we'll probably see Wheeler Yuta turn heel. We'll see Wheeler Yuta turn heel, and then we could potentially see Christian Cage attempt to cash in. You never know. Maybe that's definitely something that I'm going to keep my eye on right there. But overall, I don't see Jon Moxley being the guy to beat Bryan. I'm still going to hold on for Hangman. Now, I do believe that we're going to see a surprise. I do believe that with Swerve, we could see Bobby Lashley make his debut at WrestleDream. Lashley makes his debut at WrestleDream, and then we see the Hurt Syndicate fully form, and Swerve's going to need some backup of his own. Probably he's going to recruit Private Party. Either way, Hangman is the guy to beat Bryan, and that is going to come at World's End. And that right there, it's pretty fitting. Last year they had the gimmick with MJF's title reign in Long Island. The world came to an end because MJF ultimately lost the championship in Long Island in the Nassau Coliseum. Makes sense. This year for World's End, the theme's going to be the end of Bryan Danielson's AEW World Title reign and the end of Bryan Danielson's AEW career. That should be the finality that is World's End. And on top of that, I am going to stick to what I said in regards to Shane McMahon. If Shane McMahon is coming in, Shane McMahon should be the guy as the mastermind behind Jon Moxley's new faction. He should absolutely be in a position where he is orchestrating everything, and then from that point forward, then we can see the newly formed aggressive Blackpool Combat Club takeover. Claudio, Yuta, Marina Shafir, Pac, and Moxley. They're all in that scenario, and they're all just running roughshod. Maybe we see Jon Moxley go after a different championship. Maybe Jon Moxley ends up winning the Continental Classic. Maybe we see Moxley and Okada, and Moxley wins the AEW Continental Championship. See that? Maybe Shane McMahon's going to be the new general manager of Collision. Who knows? There's a lot of different scenarios there, but I do believe that Shane being revealed as the brains behind Moxley's new faction, that is the best way to go. I talked about Shane potentially being revealed as the brains behind the Elite. I can't sit here and tell you that's a good idea. I just can't. It's not the proper time for that. Not the proper time for that. And the Elite, they're not as hot as they once were. Moxley's faction is the perfect place for Shane McMahon to be revealed in an AEW capacity. If not, then Shane should only be doing backstage work. Bryan, I'm going with Bryan to retain. Quick one tonight. But I thank everyone. I thank Michael Vasquez and John Blaine. And I thank everyone else who joined on in. I know that the Thursday streams are not as active as they usually are, especially not with the Savage Storm show being MIA for the time being. But regardless, it's always a fun time hopping on here. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Be sure to get your tickets for Battle in the Burrow, where John Blaine is going to be on the call for. Cannot wait to see John Blaine next Saturday. Be sure to set your notifications for the Lightning Flash update this Saturday at a special 12:30 p.m. start time, because I have got a big piece of news in regards to WrestleMania 41. A big triple threat match is in the works between Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and The Rock. And I have got a lot to say about that and why it's a mistake and it should not be happening. And then on top of that, this Sunday is the rewind for AEW WrestleDream. I will probably not be tweeting live for WrestleDream. I'm probably going to have to go back and rewatch a little bit of it when I get home, specifically because of the fact that I am going to a Titan Championship Wrestling event in Hoboken, New Jersey on Saturday. Shout out to Billy Fetsky, the CEO of TCW. And I am going to be handing out some flyers and promoting Battle in the Burrow. We do have a big mixed tag team match with two individuals from Battle in the Burrow. It is Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone. He is teaming with Amity LaVey, taking on Adonis Stone, and my favorite cotton candy princess, Tiffany Avatar. So I look forward to seeing that match. If anyone is going to the show this Saturday in Hoboken, New Jersey, please let me know. Till next time, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. I am the one and only DJ Storms, and this has been The Rundown. But before we get out of here, I want you guys to answer me this very important question that all must answer. Ladies and gentlemen, who runs the IWC? Matter of fact, it's a trick question because I will tell you who runs the IWC. It is who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!